What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel where we speak the truth, we're honest, and we talk about the Miami Dolphins, man. Last night, I couldn't make a reaction video for the schedule being released because I was too busy getting my heart broken by the Philadelphia 76ers. If you guys haven't checked out my reaction to last night's game, go ahead and check that out. I will put it at the end of the video. It'll appear in the last 20 seconds of this video. All you have to do is click it, and it takes you right to the video. But last night, the NFL released the entire schedule of the 2023 season. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about what I like, because most of this schedule I like. I really do. It's a tough schedule, but I like the pacing of where our tough games are. And plus, we'll talk about, briefly, we'll talk about the schedule for the Patriots, the Bills, and the Jets, looking at our division rivals. I'm not predicting anything. It's way, way too early to be predicting games. I'm not predicting how our season's going to go. It's really hard to, because of the injuries. Like, we don't know if Tua is going to play the entire season. We don't know how many big pieces we could be missing. We don't know what games Teron Armstead could be missing. We don't know what games Xavier Howard could be missing. You know what I mean? So it's really hard to, but we're going to predict the schedule around late August, early September, so we got a while for that. But I do want to talk about this schedule, man, and if you haven't already, like I said, be sure to go ahead and check out last night's video of my reaction to the Sixers breaking my heart in Game 6 over the Boston Celtics, and now Game 7, Sunday, which, by the way, I do plan on making a video previewing Game 7 tomorrow. So if you want to tune into my thoughts for the Sixers-Celtics Game 7, watch tomorrow's video. Okay, let's talk. The Miami Dolphins 2023 schedule. Right off the bat, Week 1, in SoFi Stadium, against the Los Angeles Chargers, 4:25 on CBS. I don't know if that's going to be the nationally televised CBS game, because they'll have the Eagles and the Patriots going on at the same time, and that's the game that Tom Brady is getting honored. It'll be Tom Brady Day in New England. The Patriots announced that Tom Brady would be getting honored in the home opener, but we were confused if it was going to be Week 2 as their home opener or Week 1. Their home Week 1 against the Eagles, so that is when Tom Brady is going to be getting honored in Gillette Stadium. So that might be the nationally televised game over this, but this is still a huge game. Week 1, right off the bat, you have Tua versus Justin Herbert. Can you imagine, Dolphins Twitter, man? Can you imagine the Tua and Herbert debates for 4 months? We thought last year was going to be brutal on social media. We're going to have people going at each other's necks with the Tua and Herbert debate for 4 months. That's crazy. But last year, we all know what happened. The Dolphins went down to SoFi Stadium against these Chargers, and it didn't turn out well. They lost 23-17, but let's be real. They got whooped in that game against the Chargers. Tua looks like he didn't know how to play football. So that's a big game. Week 1 in Los Angeles against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. That's a big game. The Dolphins have 3 primetime games and 2 standalone games. So if you want to combine it together, that is 5 primetime games. I count the standalone games as primetime games, even if it's at 9:30. If you're the only game going on, you're on primetime. The first primetime game of the season is at New England against the Patriots on Sunday Night Football. Not Tom Brady night. They're not honoring Tom Brady that game. The Patriots are honoring Tom Brady against the Eagles, not the Dolphins. So, but still, that's a big game. The Patriots are a big market team, and they're their division rival. So, I would love to beat the Patriots with the entire world watching on Sunday Night Football. But that's going to be a big game. That's a big game. Mike Gesicki's on that team now. Juju Smith-Schuster's on. I really don't think they got better. And that's just me, but their offense, in my opinion, didn't get better. They got Mike Gesicki. They got Juju Smith-Schuster. That's really it, man. That's really it. They might have drafted a couple players for offense in late rounds, but their defense is more scarier than their offense. But I can't wait to talk about that game when the time comes. When it's the week of September 17th, we'll talk about that game. That's a big game, Patriots Sunday Night Football. Our home opener is September 24th against the Denver Broncos. 1 o'clock on CBS. Sean Payton. Dolphins got caught tampering for Sean Payton. That's why they lost the draft pick. And you got the story with Vic Fangio. He was going to coach with Sean Payton. They have ties together. Vic Fangio is the former head coach of the Denver Broncos. So that's the story going into that game. October 1st at Buffalo Bills, 1 o'clock on CBS. That is huge, may I say, before I forget. Big that we are playing in New England and in Buffalo early in the year, because then we don't have to deal with the cold weather of Foxborough and the cold weather of Buffalo late in the season. So it's a win-win for both us and the Bills, because we're not playing the Bills until later in the season at Miami, and the Bills are not playing us. The Bills are playing us early in the year at their place, so it's a win-win for both teams. But I think it's more of a win for the Dolphins that they don't have to play in New England and in Buffalo in December and January, because in Buffalo last year it snowed, and in New England it was 20 degrees. So that's our first 4 games. It's pretty tough, but I will take it, because at the end of the year, we have 3 out of 4 games that are home. Even though they're tough opponents, they're home games. And then late in the year, I would much rather be playing at home in Hard Rock Stadium than I would on the road like we did last year in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, in Buffalo. That was a brutal stretch. Brutal. So I will take it. Your first 4 weeks at the Chargers, at New England, home versus the Broncos, and at Buffalo. Week 5, October 8th, home versus the New York Giants, 1 o'clock on Fox. Should be a good game. Giants are a playoff team. Saquon Barkley, Darren Waller. I feel like the Giants got better. I'm not too scared of Daniel Jones. He did get the big contract, so the Giants are going to be looking for him to live up to that contract this season. It's going to be a good game. I'm excited for that. You cannot overlook the Giants. They had a really good year last year. That'll be a good game. October 15th, home versus the Carolina Panthers, 1 o'clock on CBS. Again, can't overlook the Carolina Panthers. We should beat them. It's a winnable game. Most of these games are winnable. I think at the Patriots, all of them are winnable games. It's the NFL. It's unpredictable. The NFL is the most unpredictable sport in the entire world. So any of these games are winnable. Don't let anybody tell you that, oh, we're not beating this team. we stand no chance. I learned that last year. That's one thing that I learned last year is you could get so confident and then you can lose and be heartbroken. And then you have no confidence and your team can come out and win. So every game is winnable. That's my little rant. Not too much of a rant, but a little bit of a statement. Anyway, October 15th, home versus the Carolina Panthers, 1 o'clock CBS. The Carolina Panthers cannot overlook that team. They haven't been to the playoffs in a long time, but they did get a lot better. They added Adam Thielen. They added DJ Shark. They added Miles Sanders. They have a veteran head coach in Frank Reich. And they have Bryce Young, first overall pick in the NFL draft. Bryce Young versus Tua. That should be a really good matchup. That should be a fun matchup against the Carolina Panthers. Week 7, October 27th. October 22nd, my bad. October 22nd. In Lincoln Financial Field at Philadelphia against the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. I'm telling you right now, I will 100% be at that game. I live in New Jersey. I live 25 minutes from Lincoln Financial Field, and I will 100% be at that game. I'm telling you right now, I promise you, I will be at that Eagles game no matter what. So that'll be a game that I'm absolutely going to. And if we could get off to a hot start, I know the Eagles are the best team in the NFL, so I have no doubt that they're going to get off to a hot start. 1 loss minimum. Let me look at their schedule. They could be undefeated by week 7. They play at the Patriots, home versus Minnesota, at the Bucks, home versus Washington, at the Rams, at the Jets. They could be 6-0, 5-1 at minimum. Maybe they drop one to maybe they somehow drop one to the Patriots or they drop one to the Jets. I don't know, but that could be a really fun game. People all week talking about Tua versus Jalen Hurts, the Dolphins' high-power offense versus the Eagles' stacked defense, the Eagles' high-power offense versus the Dolphins' stacked defense led by Vic Fangio. That could be a really fun game. That could be a really, really good game. And like I said, if I'm guaranteeing that I'll be at a game this year, that'll be the one. That'll be the one at Philly. Week 8, October 29th, home versus the New England Patriots, 1 o'clock on CBS. Mike Gesicki returns to Hard Rock Stadium. And the Patriots never beat us at Hard Rock Stadium. So that should be a win. Week 9, November 5th, neutral site in Germany. We're the away team against Patrick Mahomes and the Super Bowl defending Kansas City Chiefs. I love this. Now, not granted, but most of the time, I am a late sleeper. I like to get my sleep. 10:30 is good for me to wake up every day. 10:30, 10 o'clock. I like to sleep. This day, I'll get up around 7:30, get my breakfast, pregame show, all that stuff. And I really like the fact that we're not playing in Kansas City. Now, I don't know what the weather is going to be like in Germany. It could be a cold game, but I'm cool with this. And it sucks that they're taking away Tyreek Hill's return to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, but who knows? That could be a playoff game for us this year. We could be going to Kansas City for for the playoffs. I don't know. But that's a big game. That is a big, big game, November 5th in Germany against the Kansas City Chiefs. Right after that, our bye week, perfect. I love it. Right in the middle of the season. Week 11, we come home and we face the Las Vegas Raiders, 1 o'clock, CBS. I don't know what they're going to be like this year. Jimmy Garoppolo is their starting quarterback. They still have Josh Jacobs. They still have Devontae Adams. But that is absolutely a winnable game for the Miami Dolphins. Week 12, the Dolphins are playing on Black Friday at MetLife Stadium against the New York Jets. 3 o'clock on Amazon Prime. So that is a big game. And that I do consider a primetime game because that'll be the only game that is happening on that day. It is us against the Jets on Black Friday. That is huge. A huge game. Aaron Rodgers, that'll be our first look against Aaron Rodgers in the Jets uniform. So the Jets, I got news for you. The Jets are no longer a cakewalk. The Jets are going to be one of the better teams in the AFC. I think the Jets are going to be one of the better teams in the NFL. We'll talk about that. We'll look at their schedule in a little bit after I talk about the Dolphins. Week 13 after the Black Friday game. And by the way, that's our Thursday night game. That is technically our Thursday night game, which I love that the Dolphins are not playing on Thursday night. I would much rather play on Black Friday than I would on Thursday night because more likely than not, the home team has the advantage on Thursday night football. It's a rough week. It's very quick pace, and I would much rather play on Friday afternoon than I would on Thursday night. So I love that the Dolphins do not have a Thursday night game this year. That's a big W in my opinion. Week 13, December 3rd, in Washington against the Commanders, 1 o'clock on Fox. Week 14, December 11th, home versus the Tennessee Titans on Monday Night Football. I don't know what the Titans are going to be like by then. I'm not really expecting much from the Titans this year. Ryan Tannehill could be starting that game. It could be Will Levis. I'm not sure how that one's going to go. That is probably the most winnable game on the schedule because you're getting the Titans at a perfect time. I don't know if Derrick Henry's going to be on the team by then. We don't know. I'm not really expecting much from the Titans this year, but that is probably the most winnable game on this entire schedule. And by the way, that's a game I'm considering going to. I'm talking to a friend my friend from college. He's a big Titans fan. Last year, I went up to Jacksonville to watch the Titans and Jaguars with him for the AFC South Division. He loves the Titans. We talked about making plans to get to Miami to watch my Dolphins against his Titans. And the fact that it's a Monday Night Football game, it's a good chance. I love going to primetime games. Primetime games are so much more fun to go to than a 1 o'clock game when it's 85 degrees out. That sucks. So I'll let you guys know, but that is definitely two games that I have on the radar to go to this year. One, I'm definitely going to Week 7, Sunday night against the Eagles, and the Titans Week 14, a game that I'm considering going to. So, Eagles, Titans, games that I could be going to this year. Week 15, December 17th, at home, and which, by the way, this is the part of the season which I love. I really, really like. Remember how I said in the beginning of the year, the Dolphins, 3 out of 4, the first 3 out of 4 games for the Dolphins are road games. Well, the last 3 out of 4 games for the Dolphins on the season are home. They're against tough opponents, but 3 out of 4 were home. And I would much rather be having hard home game. I would much rather be having tough home games at home in Hard Rock Stadium than I would on the road in a cold environment. And again, they're tough teams. There's not an easy game left. But the fact that 3 out of 4 are home, I will take it. And that is much better than doing 3 out of 4 on the road to end the year. 4 out of 5 if you want to count the Titans, but this is a big stretch. Week 15, December 17th, home versus the New York Jets, 1 o'clock on CBS. I don't know what the primetime game for Week 15 is supposed to be, but God forbid these two teams are right in the thick of it, and they're both playing really good. It's already scheduled for 1 o'clock on Sunday, December 10th. Let's see what the primetime game is. Ravens at Jaguars. I don't think that's going to get flexed. I think both teams are going to be good this year. So, and then the 4:25 is Cowboys Bills. I mean, that could stay at a 1 o'clock game, but who knows? Who knows really? But that's a big game, and we're home. Week 16, Christmas Eve, we're playing the Dallas Cowboys. 4:25 on Fox. Again, that could be a flex, but I doubt it because it's the Dallas Cowboys, and that'll be nationally televised. So that's a big game. That's a big market game for the Dolphins at home on Christmas Eve against a team like the Dallas Cowboys, which will be a tough game, but we're home, and I'm glad. Week 17, New Year's Eve, we go to Baltimore to play the Ravens, 1 o'clock on CBS. And if you're thinking cold games, like the Black Friday game could be cold, but not any crazy conditions or anything like snow or high winds or anything. I'm only thinking there's 2. I'm thinking Week 13 against the Commanders could be a really cold game. And New Year's Eve against the Ravens could be a cold game, which I'm okay with that. And the Dolphins didn't play too bad in cold weather. They played in Buffalo twice, once in January and once in December, and they were in the thick of it the entire time. So I'm not as scared as the cold. I'm not as scared of the cold as I was last year compared to this year because they showed me that, they could compete in cold weather games. So, but that's probably going to be the coldest game of the year, New Year's Eve in Baltimore against the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, Odell Beckham. That should be a fun game. That's going to be a big game too. If both the Dolphins and the Ravens are going for wild card spots, that's a huge game. A huge game. And then Week 18, we end the season at home against the Buffalo Bills. Again, if everything goes right and the Dolphins are in the race for the AFC East, that could be the last game of the season. That could be a home game. That could be a home game for that could be a primetime game for the Miami Dolphins. That's big. So overall, I like this schedule. They end the season 4 out of 5. The 4 out of 5 games are home to end the season. The Titans, the Jets, the Cowboys, and the Bills. That is huge. It's not going to be as steamy and hot as it usually is. You're probably going to get the steamy hot games against the Broncos, the Giants, the Panthers, and the Patriots. That's about it. But I love that we're home the last 4 out of 5 games of the year. They don't have a Thursday night game this year. The Black Friday game is considered their Thursday night football game, which I love. That is a huge W. They don't have to play on the road coming off a bye. They play at home against the Raiders. Again, I don't know what the Raiders are going to be this year. They still have really good players, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, but they do have a new quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. Their defense still kind of not great, but we'll see how that one is. And they don't have a road division game in December. They play at New England in September. They play at Buffalo October 1st. And they play at the Jets on Black Friday, which I like. And I forgot. I was going to forget to say this, but the Dolphins only have one West Coast game on the entire season, and we're getting it out of the way week 1. That is huge for this team. So we have a lot of advantages going our way. We're set up great, in my opinion. We are set up really good with our schedule. I like the way it's paced. Again, first 3 out of 4 games of the season are on the road, but it's going to be beneficial because the last 4 out of 5 games of the season are at Hard Rock Stadium. That I'll take. And there's not really on this schedule that I see, oh my gosh, that's going to be a really hard stretch for the Dolphins, like I did last year with at San Francisco, at the Chargers, at the Bills, Aaron Rodgers on Christmas, the Packers. Like, that was a brutal stretch. And the Dolphins went 0-4. There's not really a stretch that scares me. I would probably say the toughest stretch of the season is going to be week 15 through 18. But again, the good thing about that is we're home for 3 of those games. And I would much rather be at home in Hard Rock Stadium than I would be on the road in a cold environment at MetLife Stadium, in a cold environment in Buffalo. I would much rather be at home, and that's what the Dolphins are. But I would say, if anything, that's the toughest stretch of the season, the last 4 games. Now, we talked about the Dolphins schedule. I'm not going to go as in-depth with these teams, but looking at the Jets schedule, the first 4 weeks, pretty hard. I'm not going to lie. They play the Bills at home. That's a Monday night game. They play at Dallas, home versus the Patriots, and home versus the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Now, with Aaron Rodgers on the team, Aaron Rodgers is a big deal. Getting Aaron Rodgers was absolutely huge for the Jets. The Jets are being catered to by the NFL. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 primetime games. They have 6 primetime games, and they have 1, 2, 3, They have 3 425 games. So half of their schedule is nationally televised games, more than likely. This is a huge spotlight for the Jets, and I don't know if the lights are too big, but I don't know, man. It helps that you have Aaron Rodgers as the starting quarterback of the team, but the pressure is on for the New York Jets. I would say if there's any team in the NFL who has the most pressure going into this season, it's the Philadelphia Eagles with how stacked their roster is. I mean, they, no doubt, no question about it, have the best roster in the NFL. And I would say second is the Jets because they are facing a lot of pressure, being put in these huge spots in the season, all these primetime games, all these 425 games. They haven't been on Sunday Night Football in 11 years. That's a long time, man. And their first Sunday Night Football game for the first time in 11 years is against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. That's a tough matchup. That is a tough matchup. So the pressure is on. If you're a Jets fan, the pressure's on. And what kind of sucks is late in the year, their schedule is absolute cake. I'm looking at this right now. Weeks 13 through 18. The toughest game for them is at Miami. Week 13, they're home versus the Falcons. Week 14, they're home versus the Texans. Week 15, they're at the Dolphins. Week 16, they're home versus the Commanders. Week 17, they're in Cleveland for Thursday Night Football. And the last week of the season, they're at the Patriots. That is an easy schedule to end off the season. So they got lucky with that one. Let's look at the Bills. The Bills have an easy schedule to begin the season. They have a pretty light schedule to begin the season. There's a couple tough ones in there, but overall, they have a pretty easy schedule in my opinion. They start the season at the Jets, Monday Night Football, home versus the Raiders in Washington, home versus the Dolphins. They have the London game versus Jacksonville, home versus the Giants on Sunday Night Football, in New England against the Patriots, and home versus Tampa Bay on Thursday Night Football, which, I mean, Tampa Bay might be the worst team in the NFC this year. And the Bills have, I think they have 6 primetime games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what's outrageous? Weeks 6 through 10. 4 out of 5 games are prime time. Outrageous, man. That's crazy. The Giants on Sunday Night Football. The Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football. At Cincinnati for Sunday Night Football. And the Broncos for Monday Night Football. That's crazy, man. That's outrageous. And then they have 4 425 games in a row. That's more than the Jets. That is more than the Jets, man. Their 425 games are home versus the Jets, at Philly, then they're on a bye, at Kansas City, and home versus Dallas. And then they have one more primetime game, December 23rd, against the Chargers. So overall, they have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 nationally televised games for the Buffalo Bills. That is crazy, man. That is crazy. And then finally, before we get on out of here, we'll look at the Patriots And I never feel bad for the Patriots because I hate them. They're one of my worst hated teams in all sports, Screw them. But if you're a Patriots fan and you're looking at the schedule, you've got to be sick with the first 4 games of the season. That is tough. That's tough. This is how they start the season. They're hosting Philly. They're hosting Miami on Sunday Night Football. Then they go at the Jets and at Dallas. That could be an 0-4 start for Bill Belichick and this team. Could you imagine if the Patriots go 0-4 to start the season? Ouch. And then, really doesn't get easy from there. They have 3 primetime games in a row. Week 14 to 16. At Pittsburgh on Thursday night. Home versus the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. And then they play at the Broncos on the night of Christmas Eve. That's brutal, man. That is a brutal schedule for the Patriots. I don't know how they're going to fare out, but we'll see. That's the breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I gave you nearly 40 minutes of content breaking down, detailing, and analyzing the Miami Dolphins schedule for this year. Then I talked about other teams in our division, the Jets, the Bills, and the Patriots, and their schedule. I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Field channel. Again, I will be back tomorrow to preview Game 7 between the Sixers and the Celtics. Got a lot to talk about tomorrow. And then Sunday, be back right here to recap and hopefully give my reaction to a Game 7 win. However, I highly doubt that will be the case because I'm preparing for the worst, man. I'm preparing for the worst to happen. So be sure to subscribe. Leave a comment down below your thoughts on the schedule coming up for the Dolphins or any other NFL team. I don't care. Let's talk about it. Hit the like button if you like what you heard from me. And follow me on Twitter and TikTok at Colin_Joseph. I'm getting out of here. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Stay safe. Stay classy. Peace.